trending technology for today's scholars.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here. I'm Ryan.
Trending technology for today's.
We'd like to take a moment to welcome you to today's event and give you a
Have
little
you ever
information
wanted
about
just
what
a
to
tiny
expect.
bit of a YouTube
New
video that
sessions
you
start
found
each
online
hour,
to show your
and you can
students?
stay for the
The
full
new
event,
YouTube
or
Clip
just
feature
watch
will
the
allow
session
you to
that you're
do just that.
interested in seeing.
From your
Welcome
YouTube
to
video,
EdTech 15
click
Minute,
on
we are happy
Clip
that you are
at
here.
the bottom.
I'm
This will
Ryan,
open up a
and
pop-up
today
where
We'd
you
like
can
to take
add
a
a
moment to
description.
welcome you to today's event
YouTube
and give you
Clips
a
can be
little
between 1
You
and
also
60
have
seconds,
two
and you can
sessions to
choose
choose from
the
each
exact
hour.
time that you would like your
After
clip
the
to
live
be.
event,
You can also
watch
click and
any of the
drag the
other sessions
handles
on your own
to
time.
determine how long
During
you want
each
your clip
session,
to be.
the host will give you a link and
Once
a
you're
secret code
done,
to jot
you click
down.
on Share
This
Clip,
will be the link that you use to access
and you'll
the
get a
attendance
unique
form, and you
URL
will
that you
enter the
can use
code
that will
into the
only
form.
be for that
You
little
can keep this
tiny
form
clip
open
that you
throughout
have
the
created.
event in a separate tab because you'll have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit even if you're watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to ensure that your email is typed correctly.
We, along with the entire EdTech team, would like to thank you for joining us today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon. Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here today. I am Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15-minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of your personal needs. During the live event, you have 2 sessions to choose from for each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
I love EdTech Live.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Have you ever wanted just a
Within
tiny
an hour
bit
of submitting, you should
YouTube video that
receive
you
a
found
response
online to show your
receipt.
students?
If you do
The
not
new
receive
YouTube Clip
this
feature
email,
will allow
please
you to do
resubmit
just
the
that.
attendance form
From
and
your
double
YouTube
check
video,
to make sure your
click on
email
Clip
address
at
is
the
typed
bottom.
correctly.
This will open up a pop-up
We,
where you
along
can
with our
add your
whole
description.
EdTech team, thank you again
YouTube
for
clips
being
can
here
be
today
between 1
and enjoy
and
your
60
session.
seconds,
It will
and you
be
can
starting
choose
soon.
the exact time that you would like your clip to be. You can also click and drag the handles to determine how long you want your clip to be. Once you're done, you click on Share Clip, and you'll get a unique URL that you can use that will only be for that little tiny clip that you have created.
If you accidentally delete or move or do something that you didn't mean to do on a slide or a document, don't worry, simply press Ctrl-Z as an undo button.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here today. I am Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15-minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of your personal needs. During the live event, you have 2 sessions to choose from for each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting, you should receive a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
If you accidentally delete or move or do something that you didn't mean to do on a slide or a document, don't worry, simply press Ctrl Z as an undo button.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We're happy that you're here today. I'm Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment and welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15-minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions each hour to choose from. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code onto the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
We all like to see so many cool GIFs. Did you know that you can make a GIF right inside of Canva? Open up one of your projects and you will see text and graphics. Notice at the top the word animate. When you click the word animate, look at all the different type of animations you could add to your graphic. If I click simple, you can even see it at the right. It will preview it. I'm going to click fun because I like to have fun. Once you are finished choosing your animation, go up at the top, go to share and go to download. Then click the file type and you're going to just simply click GIF and download it. And voila, you now have a GIF.
This was my first time doing EdTech Live, and I really learned a lot. It was informative. I really loved it. Yeah.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here. I'm Ryan, and this is Tamara.
We'd like to take a moment to welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions to choose from each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link that you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you'll have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit even if you're watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight. During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link that you use to access the attendance form, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep the
form and double check to ensure that your email is typed correctly.
We, along with the entire EdTech team, would like to thank you for joining us today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
I love EdTech Live because it keeps me up to date with the trending technology for today's scholars. It
Have you
keeps
ever
me
wanted
up to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending
of
technology for
information
today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be.
It
Have you
keeps
ever
me
wanted
up to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending
of
technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be.
It
Have you
keeps
ever
me
wanted
up to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending
of
technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be. Have you ever
Me
wanted
up to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending
of
technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be. Have you ever
Me up
wanted
to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending
of
technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be. Have you ever
Me
wanted
up to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending
of
technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be. Have you ever
Me up
wanted
to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be. Have you ever
Me up
wanted
to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be. Have you ever
Me up
wanted
to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be. Have you ever
Me up
wanted
to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video, click on Clip at the bottom. This will open up a pop-up where you can add your description. YouTube clips can be between 1 and 60 seconds, and you can choose the exact time that you would like your clip to be. Have you ever
Me up
wanted
to
just a
date with
tiny
the
bit
trending technology for today's
found
scholars?
online to show your students? The new YouTube Clip feature will allow you to do just that. From your YouTube video,
Welcome to EdTech Live. We're happy that you're here today. I'm Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment and welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions each hour to choose from. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code onto the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
If you don't have a monitor and you would like to split your screen, the steps are simple. Simply click the Windows button and the left and right arrow on your keyboard. You can also go up and down if you so choose. I'm going to do that now. I can repeat the process on the other window and have split my screen. Sometimes you get the option to be able to choose. I've split my screen to the right, and now I need to tell them what I would like to put on the left. Those are the steps of splitting your screen on a Windows device. Welcome to EdTech Live. We're happy that you're here today. I'm Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment and welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions each hour to choose from. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code onto the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
If you don't have a monitor and you would like to split your screen, the steps are simple. Simply click the Windows button and the left and right arrow on your keyboard. You can also go up and down if you so choose. I'm going to do that now. I can repeat the process on the other window and have split my screen. Sometimes you get the option to be able to choose. I've split my screen to the right, and now I need to tell them what I would like to put on the left. Those are the steps of splitting your screen on a Windows device. Welcome to EdTech Live. We're happy that you're here today. I'm Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment and welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15-minute break between each session, where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions each hour to choose from. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code onto the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
If you don't have a monitor and you would like to split your screen, the steps are simple. Simply click the Windows button and the left and right arrow on your keyboard. You can also go up and down if you so choose. I'm going to do that now. I can repeat the process on the other window and have split my screen. Sometimes you get the option to be able to choose. I've split my screen to the right, and now I need to tell them what I would like to put on the left. Those are the steps of splitting your screen on a Windows device. Welcome to EdTech Live. We're happy that you're here today. I'm Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment and welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15-minute break between each session, where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions each hour to choose from. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code onto the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
If you don't have a monitor and you would like to split your screen, the steps are simple. Simply click the Windows button and the left and right arrow on your keyboard. You can also go up and down if you so choose. I'm going to do that now. I can repeat the process on the other window and have split my screen. Sometimes you get the option to be able to choose. I've split my screen to the right, and now I need to tell them what I
Hello, hello. We're glad that you could join us in Channel B, our new live link. We see a lot of you have made the hop over and made it here safely to
Yay.
Channel B. We are excited to introduce our final session of the day, which is your Google Drive files safe from delete day. We have Michelle Aguilar here with us this morning, or excuse me, now we're in afternoon officially. It's 12 o'clock. She is an instructional technology specialist with the Cyfair EdTech team. We get to work with her every day. And she has had the privilege of being a classroom teacher all in Cyfair from elementary through secondary, and contents ranging from language arts and reading, math and science, and finally as a department chair in the LOTE department, which is languages other than English department.
And with her experience in managing teams and files, she will explain the new deletion policy and potential consequences of how you can use this as a jumping point to help shape best practices for your team files moving forward. So we all know that delete day is coming, and Michelle is going to tell us more about that and the Google tools we can use to be ready. So Michelle, are you ready for us?
I am, but I cannot start my video. There
Okay.
we go.
I was like, why don't we see her? I figured it was something on my end. I apologize.
Yes,
And
perfect.
to be clear, so people out there that are not in Cyfair are not panicking. This is the delete piece. She's going to share a lot of great things about drives, shared drives, and I know it's going to apply to many people, but the delete day piece is specific to Cypress Fairbanks. So just wanted to put that out there. All right.
That is
Thank you,
correct.
Michelle.
That is correct. All right. So I'll thank you so much, Shannon and Amy, for that great introduction. And let's go ahead and get started. Start sharing my screen. There we go. And they will also share the bit.ly in the chat, but it's there on your screen if you need to copy it down and follow along. bit.ly/GSD caps and then EdTech Live. Are your Google Drive files safe from delete day? Let's get started. So our goals for this hour is talking about our misconceptions that we have with shared drives, what's being deleted as well. Then I'm going to really encourage everyone to start moving to shared drives, and we'll talk about the reasons why. There's different membership levels in shared drives, and there's permissions that you can have with some of those files and folders. So we'll talk about that. Some things to consider moving from shared drives from my drives, and then hopefully I can model moving files for you. Some of you are going to have to be doing that here very quickly. So hopefully we'll have time to do that modeling, but if not, there's plenty of how-tos for you to do that at your pace. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Before we get started in misconceptions though, it's really important for us to develop some common language. I'm going to be weaving in and out through talking about my drive and shared drives. So what are that? Let's define it. So my drive is that individual storage of your work, and you are set as the owner of that. Long time ago when we started in using Google Drive, working collaboratively with our teams, we quickly found out, I need to set up a folder and share that folder. And that's what we did. And we are still our own individual owner of that shared folder, but we've given access, right? The difference here now, though, with shared drive is that there is not one individual owner of that drive. There's members of the drive, and as people come in and out of the drive, those files are not affected. So in my drive and in the shared folder, depending on the work status of that individual, those files are at risk for deletion. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our first misconception. And the first one is my drive. We kind of wish it was called work drive, just to, really, make it clear what it is. So it's where we're using all our resources to create for the district, whether you are in an instructional role or any other staff. The thing here with this delete day, it's going to affect everyone from campuses to other Sci-Fair departments like transportation, nutrition services, counseling, PD, anyone that's using Google Drive for their work life. So as a reminder, a friendly reminder, anything you're creating on district network and district equipment is intellectual property of the district. Sometimes, you know, we're working so much on our work computers that we start to blur the line. So as a reminder, try not to be saving some of your important personal documents on your My Drive, because that is property of the district. Okay. Let's move on to the next misconception, my eyes only. No one can see the contents of My Drive. And we know our IT friends back there, you know, if it's needed, they could go into anyone's My Drive. And that's not really what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about, we created a system when we were sharing things out to our colleagues as we are working collaboratively, that instead of just sharing it and putting in their individual email, a lot of us, what we did is we just said to anyone in Sci-Fair. And what a lot of us did not realize is that meant anyone that is in the network. So a lot of those files and folders and documents, they're searchable to anyone that's in the network. So if you're thinking about that, well, you know, some of our instructional staff and teaching staff, maybe they have tests and student data, and, you know, students can search through that. Let's look at this graphic here to kind of make you understand as well at this point. So at the bottom left corner, you see how it says only me. When you start your files, it always starts as restricted, right? So that's going to be a lower risk for anybody to see because it's restricted only to you. Then if you share it to specific people by including their email address, it opens it up even more. Then we can say all of Sci-Fair, but having the link to access. And then in that yellow portion is what most of us have been doing just to facilitate our workflow. And so we're not getting those emails requesting access. We said, you know what, let's just everyone in Sci-Fair. And that is opening up your files to where it is searchable. And then lastly, anyone with the link. Although it may seem that it's a little more locked down because you have to give someone the actual link, that link can be forwarded on and on and on. And it's open to anyone in the World Wide Web. So that one is a higher risk for your data to be exposed to others. I'm also going to take this opportunity to pop out to actual Google Drive to show you that live in the search. So up here in your Drive, you have all these search options that you can toggle through. So you can go through any types, but here's what a lot of people don't even realize. I can search by owner, right? So if I am a student, I can enter a classroom teacher's email address and start searching for some documents. So, you know, this is why, although we're talking about delete day, there's so many other scenarios and consequences that hopefully will spur a conversation back in your teams and your campuses to start making plans for best practices. All right, so I wanted to show you here, I am going to put calculus for the search. And for the location, you can also choose where in your location, and I'm going to say shared with me, and I'm going to hit select. Now again, I taught elementary math science, but when I went to secondary, I sure did not teach calculus. So I have not overlapped with any colleagues for this content, yet I have folders that have been shared with me, right? How is that? Because they have opened it to everyone in Sci-Fair, okay? So I'm not gonna dig in and click through it all, but Mr. Joshua Hunter, you are very organized. You have all your units, everything you could ever think of, including quizzes and tests and answer keys. And I'm sure he's opened this up because he wanted his colleagues to be able to use some of those resources. So let's think about, you know, is there a better way to do this, okay? So I'm going to pop back out to our presentation, and we're going to go to our third misconception here. When I send a link to files or folders, people always make a copy. They're not depending on mine anymore. And unfortunately, we wish that was the case, but it's not. Most people are going to say, oh, I'll get to this later. That's a great idea. I'm going to search later when I actually need it in that really ugly place called shared with me. So if you like organization, I do not recommend going to the shared with me section of your drive, because there's no real way, I'm popping into it, there's no real way for you to organize it. So like anything that has ever been shared with you is here. Oh my goodness. Some of us can break out in hives just looking at this, okay? So no, you know, people always say, oh, I'll search for it later when I actually need it, okay? Now, there's also an example of this that I find in a lot of campuses is that there'll be one teacher that has, I'm seeing a lot of action on the chat. People are like, oh my gosh, that's me. Anyhow, so I see this a lot in a lot of campuses where one person will make a file that everyone is dependent on. An example of that is the bus release slide or the bus release form that everyone pulls up at the end of the day. And so where is that being housed? No one really makes a copy, but everyone is depending on it. So we'll talk about why those types of files for sure should be shared in a bit. And then here is the piece of resistance, right, for today about delete day. So if someone shares files and folders with me, I'll always have access to their files. And that is no longer the case. So what happened? You know, Google has been holding on to accounts for people that have left. And it's gotten to be too much, you know, although it's in the cloud is never free, right? And so this deletion policy started a couple of weeks ago, right before Thanksgiving. So we are in the countdown mode. November 15th is when it began, and it's a 60-day window for that file deletion. Yes, 60-day window. So, okay, so wait. So whose files are being deleted? Okay, let's go ahead and spell it out. So staff that has resigned or retired last May, this past summer, earlier this semester, years ago. I'm sure that some of you, when you're going through your My Drive, your Google Drive, you're shared with me, all of a sudden you start seeing names of colleagues that have moved on to other districts or have retired, and their names are kind of still popping in there. Those are the accounts that will now be deleted, right? We're going retroactive with those people. So the files where they're listed as owners, they're going to delete January 15th. And when I say delete, we're not saying, oh, they're going to be in the trash folder. No, it's going to be unrecoverable. So this is why we're making such a big deal about this, because we know in the ebb and flow of our daily work life, we don't think about some of these things, but we do not want people in April saying, hey, I need those end of year files, but so-and-so is the one that created them and they're gone. And guess what? Those files and folders will be gone because they are in this 60-day window right now. Okay, so they're going to be unrecoverable. We're not going to be able to call help desk or send an iSupport ticket and say, hey, I'm looking for so-and-so's folder of this. They're just going to be gone. Okay, so now is the time for you to start making copies of those files that have been shared with you. That is a resource for your campus, a resource for your team. And you know that maybe you're not currently using it, so it's not on the top of your mind, but it is an important document that you rely on. Okay, so what about moving forward? So staff members that are going to resign or retire this December and in the future, that policy will be in play. So this is what happens. So when a person decides to leave their position, the account access that they have is suspended immediately in the HR process. So what I mean by account access is their email, your @cfic.net account gets suspended, right? They no longer able to access email in their Google Drive. However, their account and what they owned in their Google Drive, those will still be available for 60 days. So us that got left behind, I can still go in and copy what they shared with me in that 60-day window. So if someone retires January 2nd, 60 days from January 2nd. If someone retires March 10, 60 days from March 10, on and on and on as we move in the future. So that 60-day policy will continue. Right now, January 15th is retroactive for everyone who's already left the district. Okay. So I hope that is very clear. Go ahead and post any questions you may have, and Shannon and Amy will be there monitoring and answering some as they come along as well. All right. So, but whose files are safe? There's two situations here where they haven't necessarily left or retired, but things happen to those files, but ultimately they're safe. Okay, the first situation, when staff members are out on FMLA, what is happening now is that when they go out on FMLA, their account is also suspended, but it's temporarily upon their return, right? So they're not going to be able to access their files while they're out on FMLA. So if you think about this for teams, you know, some FMLA situations, maternity leaves, scheduled surgeries, it's something that you and your team know is going to come up, and maybe you make those arrangements to move over the files so everyone continues to have access. But the majority of the time, FMLA situations are emergencies. It's not something anyone anticipates. So by not having these files in shared drives, it's going to cause an interruption in your workflow because you won't be able to access them. We really shouldn't be texting those colleagues anyway when they're out on FMLA and saying, hey, can you open your share access to those files? Well, now with them having suspended accounts during their FMLA time, they wouldn't even be able to do that anyway. Okay. There's another situation that has been happening as we started many years ago with Google Drive, when we just started creating everything under My Drive, is that people have moved along in other positions, still working as site-fair employees, okay? So, you know, maybe they were an IS at one time, they've moved to another building, and now they're an AP, right? So when they moved, all they did was share their folder with the new person that was going to kind of absorb that new position, okay? So they're still in the district. So there's two things to think about, okay? They're owners of the files, they're owners of the folder, and because they're still within the district, there's an opportunity to do a very quick transfer of ownership. So that's a plus, but it's only because they're still employed, okay? If they're gone, if they're out of the system, if they've already, you know, hit that button with HR, there's not that easy way to transfer ownership, okay? And then beyond that, let's think, okay, if I was a classroom teacher and now I'm an IS in another building, if I was a testing coordinator and now I am this in another building, do I still need to have those files and folders with student data under My Drive? You know, whose information is that really? It's really the school's information. So it's just another little plug from me to you to say, hey, maybe those files and folders really should always be in a shared drive, right, for that continuity. All right, I'm going to pause and jump out to Drive and show you how quickly you can transfer ownership from current employee to current employee, right? So think about those situations if people have left your teams or departments to other teams or departments, whether within the campus or outside of our campus. And hey, maybe it's an email or call, like, you know what? So it moves out of your My Drive, go ahead and transfer it over to me. So here I am, an example for My Drive. Here's a 6th grade math. I no longer teach 6th grade math. I've moved on, and I want to go ahead and transfer these files to the team that remains. So I'm not listed as the owner, because if I right click on any file or folder, I can view details, and it will tell me here on the side who it's owned by. So it's owned by me. And it also tells me who I've shared it with. Now, the only way for you to transfer that ownership to someone is if they're already shared to them. So let me right click on that folder and click share. And you see how I am the owner, Danielle has access to it, right? And when I click on editor, right underneath, I can quickly transfer ownership. So I will click this and it will move on to hers and she will become the owner. So that is a very quick way to transfer ownership. Again, only available when both sides, the sending and the receiving, are current employees, okay? All right, so let's pop back out to our presentation and let's process some of this. It's a lot of information. Let's think, are you using files of someone that's left? Will they be deleted in this 60-day period by January 15th? Or is it available to transfer? So if they are being deleted, you still have access. So you would find the ones you need and make a copy. Once you make a copy, you become the owner of that copy. So then you don't have to rely on theirs. Let's also think, how are you and your campus or your department here in Cypher, how are you guys managing your files? What about those non-classroom roles and departments? So for some of us, we're like, hey, we've already started shared drives. Maybe there's a few little files here and there that we need to copy over. And some of us were like, oh my goodness, there's so much for us to move over. And if you're starting to feel very overwhelmed by that, I want everyone to take a deep breath and kind of use my example of a junk drawer in the kitchen, right? We all have it. We open it, we're disgusted, we close it. And then finally comes a day where, we have to break down and say, we need to clean this up. All right, so right now with the delete day upon us, the day has come. But I want you to think about it. When you clean out a junk drawer, not everything goes back into it, right? Some of it is going to go away. So think about your My Drive and what you want to move from whoever shared with you those important files. Think about it in that way. Do a look back period. If you haven't used that file in 2 years, do you really need it? Do you need to go through that process of making a copy and then eventually moving it to a shared drive? Maybe not, right? So a 2-year look back period would be great. I've used it in a couple of yearly cycles. I know I like that file, like that format, like that lesson, etc. Yeah, let's go ahead and make sure that I become the owner, right? Now, are we saying that My Drive is going away? No, My Drive is not going away. You can still have files in My Drive. What we are saying, though, is that because of this deletion policy, we can't lean on, I'm always going to be able to pull up that file that so-and-so shared with me because it's all still sitting there. This deletion policy takes that option away when someone has left. Okay. All right. So let's move on to then reasons to move to shared drives. Okay, I've kind of weaved some of these reasons in so far during the presentation. But the biggest one is the common location of files. We're not saying, oh, who was the one that made that form for so-and-so event on campus? And everyone has to scramble and look for it. Having it in a common location is the best, right? Members all will have access to it and the ownership belongs to the drive, the team, and not an individual. Again, the movement of staff, whether they're moving between campuses, resigning or retiring, and then those that are out on FMLA, whether any of those situations with staff, those files are safe within a shared drive because there is not one owner. We touched on this when I showed you the search. In a shared drive, it's almost kind of like it has its own little firewall. Who can access the files within a shared drive are only those members that are in there. And then also depending on their access level, their permission levels. Now, within a shared drive, you can give everyone outside of a shared drive access to that individual file. You still have that ability, right? But they can't go searching within a shared drive they're not a member of. Okay. The fourth reason to move to a shared drive, I think, is that continuity. We need to support our new teachers. We need to support campus and department staffs. You know, imagine when you go into a new job and they're like, oh yeah, we use Google Drive or OneDrive, but here it is and it's blank and good luck, you know, and that's hard, you know, so we can help in that onboarding process by just adding them as members to a shared drive. They kind of see the workflow and the organization that you've done in the past, the way you do lessons together. And it's a great jumping off point. They're not starting fresh with nothing, right? And then ultimately back to in the classroom, creating lessons in a shared drive meets our district expectation for collaborative planning. You know, you can still create things in your My Drive and that, you know, process when you're still brainstorming, you're not really ready to share, but ultimately, you know, that process should really be in shared drive where everybody can access and collaborate, and you do this piece and you do that piece. It's really the goal of the district for us to work in that way. All right, so I'm gonna break for a little bit of attendance break so Shannon and Amy can give you y'all's code. And then while they do that, I'm gonna pop over to see if there's been any questions so far.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
We have a couple questions in the
Okay.
chat. So I'll let you read and address those as I have this up. But first, let me just talk about the secret word, which is safe, because that's what you're doing, right? You're helping us all be safe from losing files that we need. So your secret code for this session is safe, and your link to submit is being put in the chat. You have your in-district link, which has been the same all day, bit.ly/edtech live capital CFISD, and out of district bit.ly/edtech live capital visitor. So Amy just posted those, or is in the midst of posting. There they are. So you can click and submit your attendance for this session. Remember, this session is recorded, so you can access it anytime after today until forever. However, if you want to get credit for watching, then you just have to submit by midnight tomorrow. All right, so we'll leave that up while, Michelle, if you want to talk about those couple questions in the chat.
Yeah. The first one is the issue that you can't move entire folders, and that unfortunately is still the case. So I will be modeling a few options, and there is quicker ways to move bulk information. But no, you cannot just drag and drop entire folders.
Google is working on a fix for that, though, which hopefully will launch soon so that people can move.
That's a great thing about Google. They're very responsive. So, you know, new updates happen all the time. So we can, fingers crossed, right? And then the next one from Sandra, can you address members of a shared drive who no longer work at the campus? Yes. When I open up the shared drives and I'll dig in deep to those roles, I'll for sure talk about that. All right.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and take the attendance code down. Make sure you jotted that down so you can submit, and we'll get back to this great presentation. Thank you, Michelle.
Perfect. Okay, so in talking about those permission levels, let's look at this graphic. On the left, we have the manager. And they have the ultimate level of rights. They can add and remove members, change the member access level, permanently delete files, rename and change themes, delete drives, everything, right? Then we step down to content manager. So they can't add or remove members. And the biggest difference too, as at the bottom, I put it in bold, is they cannot move things out of a shared drive. Then we continue to step down, so we have less and less permissions to the contributor level. So they are still able to view files and folders, comment, edit, create, and add files. So there's still a lot of things that they can do. What they cannot do is delete. So, think about your team members. And if you have those on the team that are still, very nervous around technology, maybe they need to be contributors because you feel like maybe they'll accidentally delete something, and no one really notifies you when something is deleted. So once you go out looking for the file, it's not there. That's basically when you figure out that it's been deleted, and it might be already outside that 30-day window. So there's no way to recover it if you're a manager or content manager. So the contributor, really the biggest difference is cannot delete. Then we go down to commenter and viewer, and those are like nothing burgers to me. They really can't do much to the file. And things like presentations like today, they're in a shared drive, and I can share it out in a bit.ly, and you are viewers. So that's all that you can do. I know this question is going to come up. So before we get asked, I will address Schoology in terms of shared drives. But if you are posting your lessons on Schoology or PD, if you're in other departments, you're posting PD, and if people just need to view slide decks from Google, you can just embed those straight from shared drives, even if they're not members of it. Okay. Now we're going to move on to role recommendations. Now everyone's team and everyone's campus, everyone has their own flavor, we'll call it that. So you know best what everyone should be as far as their roles. The biggest takeaway here, though, is you need redundancy in the manager level. Those that have max permissions. So those are the roles that I've recommended are any of the instructional staff, department chairs and TLs for secondary, and lead teachers, or those teachers have had a lot of seniority in that career level, maybe in elementary. If it's out of classroom, shared drives, the admin and lead secretaries. But again, plan for redundancies, because what happens is that if there's only one manager in a shared drive, and that manager leaves the district or goes on FMLA and can access it during that temporary period, that's like a marooned shared drive, right? It's lost at sea because there's no manager to make any changes to add people on or remove people. So you need that redundancy on your campus or on your department and your team. Then we have content managers. So everyone else that's on the team, they should really be content managers, contributors, commenters, and viewers. So those are some of the recommendations. But like I said, really, your team's best and how your workflow is. But again, the biggest takeaway here is you need 2 managers. And Sandra, to your question, what do you do about someone who has left the district and they're still there? If there is another manager, hopefully they weren't managers, but if there is another manager, then you can just remove them. And I can model that right now. So let's pop back out to shared drives. Now, if you don't like this view with the icons, you can press the letter or the key with the letter V as in view. And look, you can nicely toggle back and forth. Y'all like that? What am I touching? The keyboard letter V for view. Okay. So previously to being on the ITS team, I was at Site Park. We talked about that. I was a DC for Lope. And that's how I did it. I set up shared drives for each and every content level. And you can see how I have different amounts of people just based on what that content was. And I'm going to go here to Spanish 2, and I'm going to go to manage members so we can roll through here. And you can see how there's a couple of managers. So who's currently the DC and TL, and then contributors and content managers. So for this situation and those teams, they actually work across buildings to other schools because it's such a small content. And so they support each other. So those people that are outside the immediate building, they become contributors versus content manager. So we can still create that PLC and help each other out with planning. So again, because I am the manager, I can come in here and remove access or move up or move down their permission levels, right? So again, if that person that has left, Sandra, is the sole manager, it is a marooned, right, shared drive, because there's no one else that can remove access or level up people's permission. So that's why the redundancy is super important. Let's see here. Okay, let's pop back out. And let's talk about some things to consider. Okay, so you've heard a lot of information. You're thinking, man, so-and-so had that archive of all these things. We need to start moving them and making a copy. So I'm now the owner because I'm still an active employee, and then moving it into a shared drive. So Brandy touched on this, right? We cannot move entire folders from my drives to shared drives, right? You can select all the files within that folder to move. So our recommendation is this: go ahead and create your shared drives, create all your subfolders, all your buckets, right? Have those ready to go and start working in them, right? Then slowly you can go back and start moving them in there, right? So what comes to mind too, sorry about that. What comes to mind is that a lot of teams share the work that they do for lesson planning through Schoology groups or sandbox courses. And so what's already happened this year, those links may break once you start moving things, but the likelihood that students are going to work that was in September is very slim. So what I would do is, moving forward, link from the shared drive. And then when you come back around next year, you can start updating those links, because those links will break. Where else will links break? If the owner just deletes files, whether they're still employed or not, they have the ultimate control. So if they delete those folders or those files, those links will be gone. If they move to a shared drive that you are not a member of, and if the owner has left the district and will be under that delete policy, those shared links will also break. Another caveat to shared drives is Google Forms. So teams that are creating Google Forms for staff to use, those are ready to go. You can absolutely house and create Google Forms within shared drives. Now, keep in mind, drive, if you're a teacher and you are signing image or file upload, and even if you're not a teacher, the image and file upload within a Google Form does not like being within a shared drive. It just doesn't like it. It's always creates that type of assignment with those uploaded documents. So it wants to be in a My Drive. Another one that won't work seamlessly within a shared drive for a Google form is anything that you are customizing through AutoCrat. So when you are doing those custom outputs through AutoCrat, it does not like to live in a shared drive either. And then now we get to talk about Schoology. Okay, so before, a lot of our teams that were planning collaboratively, they did it out of a shared folder. And the reason why was because of Schoology. They're like, I can't assign these things to my students if it's in a shared drive, right? I can't pull it in. And now, just this fall semester, we got a Google Assignments LTI, and that roadblock is no longer there. Okay, so I'm going to actually model this live. I'm going to pop back out, and I'm going to come here to Schoology. And typically what we would do is come to add materials, and we would come here to add assignments. Okay, and I regret clicking that because it's taking so long. Here we go. So we have all these options, Google Drive, etc. When we would click Google Drive, it would only go to My Drive. Now under Add Materials, here on the right, we have Google Assignments. It kind of reminds me of the look of Google Classroom. Okay, you add in your assignment information, and then when you come down here to attach, what you will see is that all of your choices from your Google Drive are available. Everything from my drive, including shared drives. So now all those collaborative lesson plans and assignments that you work together as a team to create for your students, you can pull them in. Okay. All right. Close out of that. All right, perfect. So yes, also in this slide deck, we have step-by-step instructions for a lot of this, so you can come back. And I really encourage you to share this out with your teams because it's really time-sensitive information with the delete date, but really opening that conversation with like, hey, we need to do things better. We have a smorgasbord of stuff. You have this, you have that, and we really need to house it in one place for that continuity. Hopefully you're thinking about those things and thinking about those colleagues that you need to contact and have a conversation with, like, hey, let's start to discuss this. All right. So it is 41 after. I probably have just a few minutes, but I do want to model moving some files over. For this 6th grade math, I model transferring ownership. And for this 7th grade ELAR, I am going to model moving from my drive to a shared drive. Now, this is, you know, a little bit easier because I own the files. So I'm owning them from my drive to shared drive. So here I have lesson plans, right? And they're here, and I want to move them to a shared drive. And remember what I said previously, you kind of already need to have your shared drive created and your folders and your, like, all the little sub buckets already done. So it's a drag and drop. So let me go back there. There I am. I want to move my lesson plans because we're all collaborating in it. And so I just highlight everything or Control A to select all, and then I toss them in there. So it's going to prompt me to tell me, hey, I'm going to change ownership. So maybe people outside of Cypher ISD are going to lose access. Yes, because only the people that are members of that shared drive will have access now. So I'm going to say move. Okay, so that is one way to move your files. Another way to move your files is using the Google Drive in your, there's that so much up here, here we go, in your file explorer. Did you know, do you see this? I can access my Google Drive through File Explorer. As I've been weaving in and out of campuses, I've been very surprised. A lot of people don't know you could do this. So how would you get that linked up? You go to your Avanti. Now you won't see it on mine because I've already downloaded it, but you go to your Avanti and look for Google Drive and then download, install it, sign in, and you start to sync. So you'll see it here. So one way to do massive amounts of moving files, remember we can't do folders, but we can pick up all the things inside, is to open both of these up and do your split screen. Okay, so I have them both open. I'm going to do my split screen. All right, and that is Windows, and then you toggle back and forth to your right and left arrow. So this is going to be my receiving on my shared drive. Over here is going to be coming in from my drive. And, you know, I'm going to work on moving them over. So here I am. I'm talking about 7th grade ELAR. I'm moving over my unit lessons, and I'm able to just slide them over this way. It's going to prompt me about the ownership change from a single person's ownership to the ownership that goes to the drive, right? And I say, okay. So this is another way for you to start moving files over in a little bit quicker manner, especially if you're used to the kind of the Windows dialogues, okay? So again, If you did not already have access to your Google Drive here, go to Avanti, right, and download Google Drive, sign in, it starts to sync, and it will be on your File Explorer, right? Now, I wanted to go back to search and show you, oh man, I was working with so-and-so and they've retired, and I really want copies of all their files that are important to our workflow. So I am going to pull up a name. This is how you can do your search for those files. So Marianne used to be my DI, dear person, and she's now retired. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to say shared with me. I'm going to select that. And that this is a way for you to start looking for those files that you want to be an owner of. So you're going to make a copy, right? So you can always view your details here, and it tells you who the owners are on these files. Okay, so that's a way to say, oh, I know that specific person that's left, and they're in this 60-day window, and I want to find those files that I want to make a copy for myself. Okay, so that is a quick way to do so. All right, let's see. We are, oh, let me just show you what we have available for you to do on your own, because our time is wrapping up here. So here's a list of a bunch of how-tos, just from basics of how to create a shared drive. I showed you how to move files through the web, through the desktop, transferring ownership. I showed you live. You can download folders. Okay, there's some pros and cons though to that. Embedding shared drive slides into Schoology to view only. There's also Google Assignments LTI and searching tips, and then those hotkeys, right? So being able to move from the view to preview to list, renaming a file within Google, just press the key N, or moving instead of right click move, doing all that, just press the letter M and you're rocking and rolling. So I'm going to come back to see if there's any more questions in the last few minutes. Ladies, did y'all get any questions?
Oh, you know what?
We don't have any questions right this
Okay.
moment. There was a question about Schoology,
Mhm.
but then you went through and shared that. So,
Okay, perfect.
so yeah, I think that
Mhm.
we are.
Brandy talked about the zips. It does take a while. The only thing too is that a zip, in essence, is going to the Windows platform. So when you unzip it, everything that was a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, a Google Slide, then converts to the Microsoft version. So, you know, it's gotten a lot better, but there's going to be slight, you know, variations to them. But that happens because it's going through that zip process. And so it moves away from its native file of being Google files, and it'll force it into Windows files or Microsoft files. Can you attach Google files from a shared drive to Schoology? Okay, that's the one that got answered. Yes, we could do that. All right. So I think that's it. That's all the time we have. So I hope this was very enlightening, very informative. And like I said previously, really good information for you to take back to your campuses, your teams, and say, hey, you know, now we're, if I'm counting correctly, about 5 weeks to January 15th. And if we have so-and-so's files that have left and we really love them, we really use them, we've been using them, it's time to start making copies. And then eventually, you know, moving on to those best practices of housing them in a shared drive, so we don't lose them in the future with movement of people.
Absolutely. Shared drives have grown a lot, and this was so beneficial to get this information today. I think that everybody's saying, thank you. This was excellent information. I think, you know, just explaining how it all works and sharing this with your teams. So thank you so much, Michelle, for your time today.
You guys are welcome. Thank you for spending your Saturday mid-morning, afternoonish brunch time with us.
Right.
So.
I want brunch.
Right.
Perfect. Okay. Well, we appreciate you
Oh.
so much. Thank you all for joining with us today. And remember
to submit your attendance, and you can go back to our event sessions. You can go back to the main page. We'll post that in the chat here in just a second, and you will be able to watch the other sessions. Get the secret code, put it in your attendance form, and submit by Sunday midnight.
Yes. So I'm going to just show you the website has already been updated. bit.ly/edtechlive has already been updated with a thank you for joining us and a link right here to watch now so that you can watch those other sessions. Your links are there to submit, and that I believe is it. That ends our time with you today. We are so thankful that you joined us. Thank you. And we have a couple things coming up on the horizon from our EdTech department. So we just wanted to share that with you. And my notes page went away. So, okay, there we go. Now I can get my bearings back. Our next EdTech Live is March 25th, and that'll be here before we know it. I mean, it's already almost January. So, so we hope to see you back again. We have a couple sessions already, I think, planned, but we're still finalizing the rest. So just stay linked up with us through Twitter and on the website, and you'll see the details for the next event.
Absolutely. Can't wait for that. And also next semester in April 20th is our in-person student EdTech Expo. Yay, in person. So we haven't had it in person for 3 years. And so we're really excited that we're going to be able to move from virtual back to in person. And this is an opportunity for your students to showcase their learning with technology tools at the Berry Center, April 20th, 5:30 to 7:30. All the information is going to your campus technology liaison. And so reach out to them. They will be reaching out to you. And we're really excited that we're going to have this opportunity this year.
Yeah, it's exciting. And definitely, even if you don't have any students that are going to be sharing at the event, it's open to everyone. It's in the evening. You can go and check out what other schools, other students are doing and how they're using technology with their kids.
Pre-K through 12. We have pre-K, little ones,
Wow.
all the way up to our seniors and career and technical education, along with our new middle school robotics program.
Oh yeah,
too.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
There's actually going to be a robotics competition happening live at the event. So hope
Lots
to see
of
you
fun.
there. Hope to see you there. And then we have our digital learning conference, which happens every summer. It will be on July 26th and 27th. And if you're interested in presenting, you have some great things to share with others, please check out our website. It is bit.ly/SciFairDLC. I think that's our sign. If you're not hearing the honking and the, unfortunately, emergency vehicles out there, I think it's time for us to go. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Or if you're watching later, hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful day.
Thank y'all. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.